So let me tell you about Sarah. She's 32, she's got a master's degree in engineering, pulls in about $78,000 a year, and get this, she has never, not once, missed a credit card payment. Not one. She actually pays more than the minimum every month. Checks her credit score like it's a morning ritual. I mean, by every measure we're told matters, Sarah is absolutely crushing it. Last year, Sarah paid $3,847 in credit card interest. And no, this isn't because she was out there buying designer handbags or booking spontaneous trips to Bali. This is someone who's being responsible. The reason she paid all that money has everything to do with a single number printed on her credit card statement, a number she trusted, the minimum payment. Here's the thing about that number, and I need you to really hear this. It's calculated by an algorithm you've never seen, using principles from behavioral psychology that you've definitely never heard of, and it's designed with one singular purpose: keep you paying the maximum amount of interest for the maximum amount of time, all while making sure you never realize it's happening. Over her lifetime, Sarah's looking at about $52,000 in credit card interest. Just to put that in perspective for you, that's more than the median household income in 15 states. 15 entire states. So how is this legal? Why is nobody talking about this? And what the hell is that minimum payment calculation actually doing to us? My name is Khan, and I have spent, and I'm not exaggerating here, 6 months of my life analyzing credit card statements, interest calculations, and those impossibly long cardholder agreements from the top 15 credit issuers in this country. Now, if you're someone who pays your credit cards on time, who genuinely thinks you're managing your debt the right way, but you still sit there watching your balance barely budge month after month, yeah, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Because what I'm about to show you is the actual mathematical formula, not some vague explanation, but the real formula that credit card companies use to calculate your minimum payment. And more importantly, why that formula is deliberately engineered to pull maximum profit out of your wallet while keeping you stuck in debt for literal decades. Give this video a thumbs up if you've ever wondered why paying the minimum feels like running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. Because trust me, by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why that feeling exists. Okay, so here's the thing about minimum payments that most people fundamentally misunderstand, and I mean really get wrong. You think minimum payments are calculated to help you pay off your debt at a reasonable pace while keeping your credit score healthy, right? That's what it feels like. Pay the minimum, you stay in good standing, you chip away at the balance. Makes sense. Except that's not what's happening. Not even close. Actually, minimum payments are reverse engineered from one single goal: maximize every last dollar of interest you'll ever pay over your entire lifetime, all while keeping that monthly payment just low enough that you won't default and stop paying them altogether. And this isn't me speculating or being dramatic. According to a 2019 study published in the Journal of Consumer Research, credit card companies deliberately, and I mean deliberately, set minimum payment formulas to create what researchers called the payment treadmill effect. That's where cardholders feel like they're making progress, like they're handling their business, but they're actually trapped in these multi-decade repayment cycles that never seem to end. And that payment treadmill, it's quietly extracting wealth from millions of Americans in ways you literally cannot see and were never, ever told about. All right, so let me take you back to 1978. There's this Supreme Court case, Marquette National Bank versus First of Omaha's Service Corp. And honestly, most people have never heard of it. But this decision changed absolutely everything about credit cards in America. Before this ruling, states could actually cap the interest rates that banks could charge on credit cards. We're talking rates typically between 7 and 12%. Reasonable, right? After this decision, banks could basically export their home state's interest rate laws to customers anywhere in the country. So in 1978, the average credit card interest rate was 12.5%. If you carried a $1,000 balance and made minimum payments, you'd have it paid off in about 3 years with roughly $200 in interest. Not great, but manageable. Then things started changing. Through the 1980s and 1990s, credit card companies had this realization, and you could almost see the light bulb moment. If they could keep people paying indefinitely at higher rates, they could basically turn debt into a subscription service. Think about that, a subscription service. By 1995, according to the Federal Reserve, the average credit card APR had jumped to 16.8%. But here's what really matters. Minimum payment formulas changed. That's the part nobody talks about. Fast forward to today, that same $1,000 balance at the current average APR of 22.8%, that's from the Federal Reserve's 2024 data, with a typical minimum payment formula would take you 11 years and 7 months to pay off. You'd pay $1,272 in interest. That's more than the original balance. Let me say that again, more than what you borrowed in the first place. We're making 24% more money when you adjust for inflation since 1978, but credit card debt? It's increased by 312%. The system isn't broken, folks. It's working exactly as it was redesigned to work. Okay, so your credit card statement shows up with a minimum payment on it, usually somewhere between $25 and $35, maybe 2 to 3% of your balance. Looks simple enough. Looks reasonable even. The statement says something like minimum payment due $87. What that statement will never tell you is that this number, this seemingly simple, innocent number, is the output of a formula that's been specifically calibrated, tested, and fine-tuned to maximize profit. And that formula has layers, so many layers that you've never even thought to consider. Okay, so most credit card companies calculate your minimum payment as 1% of your balance plus interest and fees. When you first hear that, it sounds reasonable, right? It's a percentage. Percentages feel fair. But wait until you see what this actually means in practice. So see, as your balance decreases, your minimum payment decreases. So let's say you've got a $5,000 balance at 22% APR. Your first minimum payment might be around $141. You pay that consistently for a year, and great news, your balance drops to $4,200. You're making progress. Except, here's the trap. Now your minimum payment drops to $119. You're paying less money, which sounds good until you realize what that means. More of each payment is going straight to interest, which means your balance decreases even more slowly. You're actually getting further from freedom, not closer to it. According to a 2022 Consumer Financial Protection Bureau report, and this blew my mind when I first read it, this declining minimum payment structure extends the average repayment period by 7.3 years, compared to if you just kept paying a fixed amount. 7.3 years. Credit card companies know this. They're absolutely counting on it. But here's where it gets darker, and I mean genuinely darker. Credit card companies have this dirty secret that they really don't want you to know about. They set minimums to make absolutely sure you'll never pay more than a certain percentage towards the actual debt you owe, the principal. There's a study from the Credit Research Center at Georgetown University that found something shocking. For balances between $2,000 and $10,000, the typical minimum payment formula ensures that no more than 35% of your payment actually goes towards reducing your debt. The rest? Pure interest. Money just evaporating into thin air from your perspective. So let's make this real. Say you've got a $6,000 balance at 24% APR. Your $150 minimum payment breaks down like this. $120 goes to interest, $30 goes to principal. Think about that for a second. You're paying $150 to reduce your debt by $30. $30. And next month, because your balance only dropped by that $30, you're going to pay almost the exact same amount of interest again. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon while someone's running a fire hose into it. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. And by interesting, I mean kind of mind-blowing. Credit card companies exploit something that researchers call the minimum payment anchoring effect. There's research from the Center for Consumer Research at UC Berkeley that looked into this. They found that when consumers see a minimum payment amount, any amount, their brains automatically anchor to that number as the right amount to pay. And get this, even financially literate participants in the study, people who understood interest and compound growth, paid significantly less on their cards when they were shown a minimum payment compared to when no suggestion was provided at all. Just seeing that number changes your behavior, even when you know better. There's another principle at work here too, something called payment momentum illusion. When you pay your minimum every single month, consistently on time, you feel responsible. You feel like you're being a good, financially responsible adult. You're managing your debt. And your brain actually, this is real, releases a small hit of dopamine from the sense of accomplishment. I handled the bill. Check. But you're not handling it. Not even close. You're being handled. It's psychological manipulation at scale, and it's completely legal. Let me break this down for you because it's not random. It hits specific groups way harder than others. Young professionals, ages 25 to 34. According to Experience 2024 data, this group carries an average credit card balance of $5,638. They're paying an estimated $1,276 in interest every single year. That's money that could be going toward a down payment on a house or retirement savings during the years when compound growth matters most. But instead, it's going to credit card companies. Single parents. The Federal Reserve data shows single parents carry 38% higher credit card balances than two-income households, and they're earning 47% less. The minimum payment trap costs them an estimated $82,000 over a lifetime in opportunity cost. $82,000 they'll never have for their kids' education, for emergencies, for building any kind of financial cushion. First-generation college graduates. This group often doesn't have family financial guidance to fall back on. According to a 2023 Brookings Institution study, they have the highest rate of minimum payment-only behavior, 54%, more than half. They did everything they were told to do, got the degree, and now they're trapped. When you add all of this up over a lifetime, minimum payment formulas aren't some abstract financial concept. They represent the transfer of an estimated $120 billion annually from cardholders to credit card companies. That's according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's 2023 analysis. $120 billion every year. And here's what really gets me. According to research from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, credit card interest payments amplify wealth inequality by an average of 0.8 percentage points per year. High-income households pay their cards in full. They earn the rewards. Middle and lower-income households pay the interest that literally funds those rewards. It's a wealth transfer disguised as consumer choice. This doesn't just affect you right now, today. It affects your ability to build wealth, to buy a home, to start a business, to save for your kids' education, to retire with dignity. It creates this multi-generational drag on economic mobility that researchers estimate costs the median family $134,000 over a working lifetime. $134,000 that just disappears. So here is how you start taking control of a system that was designed to keep you completely in the dark. Solution number 1, calculate your real payoff timeline. First thing you need to do, like as soon as you finish watching this video, go to a credit card payoff calculator. There are free ones on bankrate.com, Credit Karma, anywhere really, easy to find. Input your actual balance, your APR, and your minimum payment. Then just look at the numbers. Look at the total interest number. Look at the payoff date, and let yourself feel whatever you need to feel about it. Shock, anger, betrayal, it's all valid. This step breaks the psychological anchor. Once you actually see that paying the minimum on $5,000 is going to cost you $8,000 over 15 years, your brain can't unsee it. That's powerful. Knowledge destroys the illusion that minimum payments are somehow reasonable or okay. Solution number 2, implement the minimum plus $50 rule. Starting right now, today, this month, pay your minimum payment plus $50. If your minimum is $87, you pay $137 every single month. No exceptions. No, I'll do it next month. Cutting off excuses. Slightly stern, but supportive. Solution number 3, Use the avalanche method for multiple cards. If you've got multiple cards, and honestly, a lot of people do, here's what you do. List them all out by interest rate, highest at the top, lowest at the bottom. You're going to pay the minimums on all of them except for the one with the highest interest rate. That one, you throw every extra dollar you possibly can at it. Everything until it's dead and gone. Then, when that one's paid off, you take that entire payment amount and roll it into the next highest rate card. This is called the Debt Avalanche Method, and according to a Harvard Business School study, it saves an average of $2,000 in interest for every $10,000 in debt compared to other approaches. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This might feel less emotionally satisfying than the snowball method where you pay off the smallest balances first and get those quick wins. I get the appeal of that, but mathematically, the avalanche method is hands down the most efficient way to escape the interest trap, and sometimes math has to win over feelings. Solution number 4, request a lower interest rate. Here's something that blows people's minds. You can just call your credit card company and ask for a lower APR, like literally just ask, and it works way more often than you'd think. According to a 2023 LendingTree survey, 76% of people who actually asked for a lower rate got one. 76%. The average reduction was 6 percentage points. You know what? You probably see yourself right now as someone who's struggling with self-control, someone who just needs to budget better, someone who really should just be more responsible with money. That's the story the credit card industry has been telling you your entire adult life. That's the narrative they need you to believe. Because if you blame yourself, you won't look too closely at what they're actually doing. But there's another way to see this, a more accurate way. You're being mathematically manipulated. You're being subjected to behavioral psychology principles that were developed by people with PhDs, processed through minimum payment algorithms that were specifically calibrated, tested, refined, optimized to maximize corporate profit at the direct expense of your financial future. You were never told the rules. Nobody sat you down and explained that the suggested payment on your statement was reverse engineered to keep you in debt for decades. You were never shown the formula. You trusted the number because why wouldn't you? It's on an official statement from a legitimate financial institution. Sarah, remember Sarah from the beginning, the engineer who did everything right? She paid $3,847 in interest last year, not because she failed at something. Not because she lacks discipline or intelligence, but because she trusted a number that was printed on her statement. She still lost that money because of a calculation she didn't know existed, using principles she'd never heard of. And Sarah is not unusual. Sarah is not the exception. 45% of cardholders are Sarah. You might be Sarah. I've been Sarah. The system is designed this way, on purpose. With intention. Your minimum payment is being calculated right this second, right now, with every billing cycle using an algorithm that was specifically designed to maximize your lifetime interest payments while keeping you just comfortable enough to keep paying. You can't opt out of credit cards in modern society. That's not realistic. I'm not going to tell you to cut them all up and live on cash because that's not how the world works anymore. But you can stop being blind to what's happening. You can start understanding that the minimum payment isn't financial advice. It's not there to help you. It's a profit maximization tool being used against you, against all of us. And once you see it, really see it, you can start making choices that account for the real math, even when the statement tries to hide it from you. You can take back some control in a system that was built to keep you powerless. Look, I have spent way too much time reading cardholder agreements and analyzing interest calculations and running these numbers over and over. More time than is probably healthy, honestly. But I did it so you don't have to, so you can just know. If this video changed how you see that minimum payment number on your statement, if you're going to look at it differently from now on, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel, because there's so much more of this stuff that we need to talk about. So many systems operating in the shadows that depend on you not asking questions. I'll see you in the next one.